Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for getting on the stream tonight. We'll be getting started in just a minute. Give a few more people time to get onto the stream, but we'll be getting started in about 2 minutes. Again, thank you for getting on the stream tonight. Appreciate it. All right, we'll be getting started right now. Let's get it in. Thank you all for getting on the stream tonight. Appreciate you taking out your precious time on a what is this, a Thursday night, on a Wednesday night, hump day. I trust that everyone has had a positive day. I always trust that you had a positive day. I'm a firm believer that if you woke up, you have a positive day, regardless of how the day went. So I trust that everyone has had a positive, productive day, in spite of the fact that you may have had to go to work. I'm excited about sharing the subject title to you tonight. It's a topic that all too often goes, like so many topics, so many times bypassed by just simply everyday activity, in doing what we believe in most cases it's just simply normal activity in what we do. And the subject title tonight is the modern woman playing musical chairs. Now, I know a lot of you can remember musical chairs, because I used to love that game. I really did. When I was younger, I used to love playing musical chairs. I mean, we used to play it a lot when I was in elementary school. We played it a lot in elementary school. And I remember it would start the music, and we'd run around the chairs like we were losing our mind as fast as we could, hoping to get to a chair before the music stops. And you always set up the chairs in such a way that there was always one less chair, I believe that's how it was set up, than those that were in the game itself. So you had an urgency, a sense of urgency, to get to a chair so that you wouldn't be the one left standing. All right? And that's what the subject title is tonight, for us to look at on a realistic standpoint. Ladies, have you been playing, and are you playing musical chairs? Let's talk about it. When you look at musical chairs and what it means, in today's dating scene, it appears that the modern woman is listening to the music but failing to find a seat. Seat signifies a man, right? To sit on. And this doesn't imply sex, okay? How is the traditional game of musical chairs played? Chairs, meaning men. Whenever you hear the term chairs tonight, I want you to use that in terms of men. Okay, the musical chairs played, chairs meaning men, are set up one less than the total number of people in a line or a circle. Players, meaning the women, must move around the chairs, meaning men, while the music plays. But when it stops, which indicates time's up, your time is up, they must sit on a chair, which means men, right? Whoever ends up without a chair, which means men, or man again, to sit on, in the end, which would indicate the end of hot girl summer, or those years where you think you don't have to prioritize relationships, okay? Loses the game. Losing the game means what? Losing the game simply means dying alone. That's all it means when you lose the game. So let's talk about it. When the music stops, ladies, will you have a seat, or you have to continue in rotation with hopes of finding one? When the music stops, will you find a seat, or will you find yourself still in rotation, hoping to find one? If you notice with musical chairs, there is others fighting. If you notice, like I said earlier in the beginning, when I first started the stream, I started talking about how we used to act when we played musical chairs. We were always struggling to see, before the music stops, that's the whole objective of playing the game, is to go around the chairs quickly and fast and vigorously and aggressively as possible with a sense of urgency, because you knew you had to be seated before the music stops, okay? So, if you notice with musical chairs, there's others fighting for many of the same chairs that you have your eyes on. And the goal is, with yourself, is to be seated when the music stops. That's the goal. The music represents the choice or the noise as you're concentrating. The music represents the noise in your ear that you're hearing with the current civilization, with the current society, and the current narrative and story that's being told. That's the noise. That also represents the music. That represents the music. Okay? If you're concentrating on the music, then what happens is you will continue to miss your seat. Dancing in a trance to music, hoping for your chance, causes many of you to miss your seat, and you're suffering from a long agony of what's called defeat. Where's your seat, ladies? Where's your seat? If you're caught up in the beat, if you're caught up in yourself, if you're caught up on the continual rotation of those around you who also have lost focus on the seat, understand this, ladies, that missing your seat comes from not making it a priority to get one. Sitting in and of itself represents a place of rest. Ask yourself a question. Ask yourself a question currently, right now, where you are, wherever you are in life as it relates to relationships and or long-term relationships and or marriage. Ask yourself a question. Are you resting? Or are you perpetually restless? Is the modern woman playing musical chairs? And has this now become a point where she's become angry because of not prioritizing the importance of sitting and remaining still? I want you ladies to listen to me. I know a lot of times these talking points tend to trigger, but I want you to listen from an objective standpoint, as always, is what I stress. Always what I stress. Music does a few things. Just understand what music does. We've heard the term music calms the savage beast, and we've heard all kinds of things about music, right? But we know that music does one thing in particular. It changes moods depending on what type or kind of music it is. It tends to change the mood of the listener. Music does a lot of things. It tends to make you either happy or sad or upbeat. But it is what it is. It's music. So, if music in and of itself changes the mood, what kind of music are you listening to? music has a strong tendency of being felt in such a way that speaks to whatever situation or condition that we may currently be having. You ever notice that when you're in a sad situation as it comes to relationships, and this is for ladies, you ever notice how ironically we listen to sad music, right? We don't want to be sad, but we tend to go and listen to sad music anyway. I mean, it really makes no sense, but it seems to be the right thing to do at the time, right? We turn on slow music, slow jams, and then we get deeper into our sadness while listening to the music, you know? Well, I mean, music does a lot of different things. As I said, it creates a lot of different emotional reactions when we listen to it. But herein lies the problem. If the music you're listening to gets so loud in your ear to where you forget that the whole purpose of listening to the music is not to live your life listening to it, but to understand that the music at some point is going to stop. So when it does stop, if you, ladies, are playing musical chairs as it relates to relationships, where in fact do you sit when the music stops? Where are you sitting when it stops? You know, the worst part about playing musical chairs, and I can remember, and I know many of you that ever played it, you probably remember as well. It's a bad feeling when everybody finds themselves seated and the music stops and you're the only one standing, right? It's not a fun feeling. It's like, wow, you know, I'm standing here stuck by myself. Well, that's what happens in the dating scene today. The dating scene dictates you being able to plug your ears against the noise. If you can plug your ears against the noise enough to focus on the seat that you're trying to sit in, then you win. Now, why am I saying that? Because what is the real objective to playing the game of musical chairs? What is the real objective and what makes the person playing win? It's not the fact that the chairs are set up. It's not the fact that everyone's competing to find a chair, just like you. That's not what gets the winner. What gets the winner is the one that can block out the music and focus on the chair that they want to sit on as they go around in rotation. That's the one that finds the chair. The one that always misses the chair by the time the music stops is usually the one that paid more attention to the music, and they paid more attention to those that were competing with them to get a chair. That's the one that ends up left standing. If you want a chair, meaning if you want the men you say you want, and you're tired of playing musical chairs, stop concentrating on the music. Stop concentrating on the noise. You've heard me say in previous streams about the noise. Can you block the noise of those who think, and I mean think too, not that they are, but those who think they are winning? Can you block the noise? Can you do that? If you can block the noise of those who make so much noise and think that they're winning, you can get your chair. You can find yourself resting in a place that takes you later on into the end of life where you are now successful. Successful how? Is success based on the income? No, absolutely not. Is success based on the materialistic things that you have? Absolutely not. Is success based on what you've acquired in terms of education? Absolutely not. So what is success based on? Success is based on you finding a seat. Being able to sit, which is what I said in the early part of the stream. Sitting represents resting. Many of you ladies, the modern woman today is not resting at all. In fact, they're restless. very restless. Very restless. Oh, they look good on the outside. Oh, for sure. Hair done, nails done, everything did. But they're not resting at all. They're not resting. There is no resting place without firm, secure, meaningful relationship. There is no resting place without that. You don't believe me? Pay attention to your relatives who are single. Pay attention. There are more of them, your aunties, your nieces that are older, for those of you that are young, your mom. They're very unhappy, very angry, upset, and restless. Restless from issues that may have transpired 30 years ago. 30 years ago. Like literally. 3 decades ago. 4 decades ago. Still restless. What does that mean? That means you missed your seat. You had the same opportunity, ladies, as everybody that played the game. You had the same opportunity. See, the trick of getting a seat is not the music that's playing, like I said. The trick to getting the seat is ignoring the music and simply concentrating on the seat, which represents the men that you say you want. That's the trick in getting the seat. Is the modern woman playing musical chairs? Are you today become a sore loser in the fact that you have not gotten a seat? Is anyone or someone or perhaps everyone to blame because you didn't pay attention to the seat that you desired to sit in? Instead, you focused more on the noise, i.e., the music. Is that what you focused on? Is that what you focused on, ladies? Because I'll tell you something. Today, the outcomes are evident, and I mean clearly evident, of the fact or the lack of focus. Absolutely. You don't have to be a superwoman. No, not at all. You don't have to be some superhero to get your seat. No. All you have to do is want a seat. If you want a seat, then you have to make a decision to understand the rules of the game. The rules of the game is to not listen to the noise, but to focus on the seat. Again, I told you in the beginning of the stream, the seat represents a man. That means focus on what a man wants, not what you want, but what he wants. I know some of you ladies are so triggered when y'all hear that kind of talking point. I can't understand it, but it's indicative of the problem. I promise you that. It's extremely indicative of the problem. I just said to you in many different streams in past, I said that 1 in 4 will marry in a lifetime, which means 3 will die alone. Well, that's like the 3 that missed the chair. That's like the 3 that missed the chair. They got so caught up in the noise or the music. They didn't understand the rules of the game. While rolling around in circles in rotation, they never got a seat. And I will say this sadly, to my sad regret, many women, black women in particular, are in constant, perpetual rotation. I'm going to say that again. Constant, perpetual rotation. So much rotation. So much rotation that the game itself loses its meaning and has lost its meaning. See, there's nothing wrong with musical chairs if you're focused. But there's everything wrong with musical chairs if you lose focus and get caught up in the music as opposed to the rules of the game, which is simply means to be focused on the chair that you desire to sit on as you pass that chair. Many of you ladies, and I've said it many different times, you've met the chair or the man that would have been the man of your dreams, but you were so caught up in the noise or the music. You stayed in rotation. You continued in rotation, finding yourself losing or missing the chair you desired to sit in, only to find out that someone else got the chair. You know, I will tell you this. It's one thing to lose a game. For those of you that are competitive in any kind of sport or have been competitive in any kind of sport, you know what I'm saying. You know what I'm going to say next. If you've been competitive in any kind of sport in your life, you can lose once, you can get over that. You may even be able to lose twice, maybe even 3 times. But it's continual loss that tends to wear on you, because your hope from the beginning was to win. Hope consistently and perpetually deferred makes your heart sick. So therefore, over time, what happens? What happens over time is you become more and more and more and more discouraged. So finally, you find yourself in rotation to the point you're not focused anymore, and you don't care about being focused. The rotation in and of itself is sufficient. And that's where it really gets sad. That's where it really gets sad. That's where it really gets sad. Because once you get to that place to where the rotation doesn't bother you any longer, and you are okay with the music and the rotation without the outcome of having a seat to sit on, meaning a meaningful relationship, that's when it gets even more sad. Because the longer you stay in relationships where you don't find a seat, meaning they keep you, because that's the only time you actually rest. You don't rest in just rotation. You rest when you're kept. That's why when your person is seated, they own the chair, you know? They own the chair. They own it. Once you sit in it, you own that chair. So, how many seats have you missed over time? And up to this point, how many seats have you missed? How many seats have you missed? Because why is that important? Why is that important? Because one thing about any game, it's not played 24 hours a day. It's played periodically. What does that mean? As it relates to real life, it means you only get a chance of a lifetime only a few times in life. How many lifetime opportunities have you ladies given up because you lacked the focus to pay attention to the seat that was sitting there for you to sit in, but because you got caught up in the noise, you missed the seat? How many seats did you miss? Because you know what? Like all of us, there's a thing called missed opportunity. Male and female have missed opportunities because we lacked the focus, right? Who do we blame for the lack of focus? You know, you can't take a good photo with your camera if it's out of focus. So it still requires you to put that camera into clear focus so that you can see clearly what you're trying to take a picture of, right? So if your focus is out and you have not focused on meaningful relationships, you have not focused on how important or prioritized the whole idea or concept of relationships, then it stands true to say that your focus has been out. So you gotta focus your camera, which means you gotta get your mind focused on the things that you say you want. Has the modern woman, have you ladies that have become so modern today in 2022, has 2022 and how things have advanced up to this point caused you to lose focus to the point now you can't even find your lens to retrieve the focus? See, one thing about not having any focus at all, it means the only thing you hear is the noise. And therein lies those who fail and lose in the game of musical chairs. See, those are the ones that are always left standing. The ones that only hear the music and lack the focus. It's as though the chairs are not even there. But you got competition. You got those around you that absolutely are focused. They don't hear the music as much as you hear it, and they're looking to get the chair that you would have gotten had you been more focused, as opposed to listening to the noise, i.e., the music. You would have gotten the same results. The same results. So, what exactly, ladies, going forward, do you intend to focus on? If it's not the music, if it's just simply the music, we already know where that's getting everybody. Look at the community. Everybody's listening to the music. In fact, the music is so loud, nobody cares about the chairs. Not in our community. Most women, our ladies, our women, black women in particular, they don't care about the chairs. They don't see the chairs. Yeah, not at all. If they can sit in the chair for 2 seconds, 2 minutes, 1 minute, get what they need for that 1 minute or 2 minutes, they're satisfied. But resting, no, there's no rest. Restless is the order of the day. Restless is the order of the day. Because there are no seats. The seats are running out. The seats are running out in our community. The music today is so drastically that it barely has a beat. It sounds, and that's all you hear, just sounds. There's no beat. The sounds are so loud and distorted, you can't find a rhythm in anything that you do. The rhythm is thrown off completely as it relates to relationships and or marriage. It's thrown off completely to the point where you're disoriented. You can't find the chair. Although there are chairs all around you, you don't see the chairs that are around you because you're disoriented by the music that's so loud that you don't even see the music that's around you. So, how does that look going forward? How does it look going forward? If you ever noticed when you play musical chairs, you ever noticed when we played as youngsters, those of you that played it when you were young, some of us, when the music stopped, we were so eager to sit down. Many of us that got a chair, we fell and hit the floor, right? You weren't really seated. You kind of hit the floor, and in some cases, you hurt yourself. Might have sprained your wrist, right? You might have hit your head. You might have fell on your knee. Either way, in some cases, you suffered some kind of injury as a result of moving too fast. That also comes from not being focused on one specific chair, but not entirely, because see, the same chair you're focused on, so is someone else. Therefore, you clashed. Then when you both began to try to sit on the same chair, one person ended up getting it, but the balance was thrown off and you hit the floor. That's equivalent to the men that you lose. That's equivalent to the men you lose. You've heard me say in many different streams, 85% of all relationships are called off in terms of marriage by way of divorce at the hands of black women. That means you had a chair. You had a chair and you gave up your seat. Talk about the legs were weak. Talk about the back of the chair wasn't as stable. Talk about it was kind of rickety, it squeaked a little bit. Yeah. Oh, you didn't have a perfect chair. But one thing's for certain, when the music stopped and you were seated, you had the chair. While there was still left someone standing. That's the difference between playing musical chairs and winning musical chairs. Aren't you ladies tired of being in rotation? Rotation. Going from one chair to the next chair, to the next chair, to the next chair, and to the next chair. And yet you're still not dissatisfied at rotation. Don't you want to get to a point where you focus on a chair and determined to sit down? That's the question. Don't you want to sit down? I mean, some of you ladies should be tired by now of simply running around in rotation. I mean, really. You should. You should. Because here's the thing. If you're not tired, how long do you intend to do it? How long do you intend to do it? I did an example yesterday. The clock is ticking. The clock is ticking. And it's ticking fast. And it's ticking so fast. It's ticking for so many people. Every time I turn around, I'm getting different news reports about people that are, they're young and they're dying. Young reports. Late 40s, early 50s, Me personally, I don't like to hear that because I'm in my 50s. But I will tell you this, for you ladies, we all got to find ourselves at the door of what's called death. But since that's true, that's not a bad thing. That's just a reality. That's just a reality. That's all it is. But while we continue as we get older and older to think that we have time to keep playing these games and to keep riding the carousel and to keep spinning around the merry-go-round and keep running around the musical chairs and keep listening to the noise and keep buying into the narratives and keep listening to those who make so much noise and think that they are winning as it relates to social media, or as it relates to celebrity status, and as it relates to R&B artists, and as it relates to those that we watch on television and in movie series and things of this nature. If we keep getting sucked in by the narrative that dispels the whole importance of relationship, the whole importance, the whole value of what it is for me to be with you and for you to be with me, and for us to create what's called a nucleus family, if we keep buying into the foolishness of what we see on television and news clips and entertainment and award shows and all the nonsense, if you can't get the noise out of your ears, which represents the music, I promise you, you will continue running around the musical chairs, and you will find yourself, when the music stops, you will be the one standing alone. Aren't you tired of playing musical chairs? Aren't you tired of that? I would think that you are. I would think that you are tired. Some of you even won't admit it right now, but I'm positive that many of you that watch the stream now or watch it later, you can relate exactly to what I'm talking about. You are tired of the rotation, and you're tired of the music stopping, and you find yourself standing alone with no chair, meaning you find yourself standing alone with no relationship. And then you got to get back into the game again and start that whole rotation again, finding yourself again with no chair, and then get back into the game again and then find yourself in rotation again. Come on, ladies. Is the modern woman playing musical chairs? Is that what you're doing? Is that the solution? Is that the end game that you intend to use to get you to the end of life? How tired are you at going on female cruises with your girlfriends? How tired are you? How tired are you of doing that? You know, in the summertime, you and all your girlfriends get together and you go on a cruise. How tired are you doing that? When you get to the cruise, you find other women on that ship with their husbands, with their fiancés. You know I'm right. And all you have is you, Joanne, Janet, Barbara, Deborah, all of y'all are together, having a glass of wine, and no man. And you find a way to make yourself feel better about the rotation. You lay up on the deck in your bikinis, sipping on your martinis or whatever you're sipping on, you know, pina coladas. You might take a dip in the pool on the ship, have a nice dinner at the restaurant on the ship. All of you and your girlfriend sitting at one table having dinner. Then the cruise is over and the cruise ship comes back. Now you're faced with reality all over again. You're right back to reality. You're right back to where you were before you got on the ship. Spend your time doing a whole lot of extracurricular activities in your own private time, all trying to quiet the noise. But the noise is so loud. The noise is so loud that you can't focus on the thing that you need to do and what it is that you say you want inside. Whether you can determine or whether you can articulate the thing you want in words. You know you feel it on the inside. You want something different than what you currently have, and you don't know how to put your finger on it. You don't know how to write it down. You don't know how to explain it or define it. So what are you doing? You're trying to cover it up with a whole lot of activity. And it's not meeting the mark. It's not filling the void. It's not. You know you're tired of the rotation, ladies. You know you're tired of the rotation. Why won't you shut the noise down in your ear so that you can focus on the chair that you're trying to sit in? Many of you have found the chair already. Some of you have found the chair right now as I speak. And you're still debating as to whether you want to sit down. I told you what the chair represents. The chair represents the man. Some of you have already found a chair right now. And you're debating whether you want to sit down or not. As if you have time. And you're listening to other women who don't have a chair. And some of them are trying to encourage you not to sit down. Ladies, you better take that chair and sit down. You better take that chair and sit down. The ones that you're listening to, they're already restless. They're not resting. Get the chair and have a seat and sit down and rest so that you can secure the future that you want and that you say you want in terms of a man, so that you can get to the end of life. That's what you should do. I can't tell you what to do. All I do is suggest. You can take it for whatever it's worth. You can listen to it, absorb it, move on it, or discard it. Either way, it does not affect me personally. It affects me, but it doesn't affect me personally. It will, in fact, affect you personally. So it is a decision, and it is a choice, and I support the right of a woman to choose. I do. You have a right to choose, to do whatever you want to do. I support that. I support that. But with every choice comes a trade-off. And now you got to ask yourself the question, with every choice that you've made up to this point, by not focusing on the chair, instead getting distracted by the music or the noise, what has been your trade-off? What has been your trade-off? And are you content with the trade-off you've received? Are you content? If you're content, this conversation might not be for you. But if you're not content, then I hope that you can get something from what I'm saying. I hope that you can get something from what I'm saying. Hot girl summer, it's over. For you ladies that are past the age of 27 years of age, I want to let you down real easy. Hot girl summer is over. Your hot girl summer years between 20, 18, and 25, 26. If you're beyond those years and you're still running around listening to the music and you find yourself still in rotation, you are in danger. And I mean, you are in danger. Yeah, don't listen to your relatives who tell you that because you're 25, 26, and 27 that you're okay and you have time. No, they're lying to you. They're lying to you. You're that close to middle age at 27. Huh? Middle age? Yeah. You're that close to middle age. Middle age starts at 35. Not at 50. No, that's not middle age. That's an old myth. 35, that's middle age. Why is that called middle age again? And why is getting out of the game of playing musical chairs important? By me saying the age 27. 27 marks what's called the danger zone. Shout out to Kevin Sanders. The danger zone. Why is it called the danger zone? You know, when you saw a danger sign, it meant you should beware, right? Every time, all of our life growing up, we saw a danger sign, it meant beware. It meant watch out. Take precaution, right? Okay. Well, why does 27 represent the danger zone? Between 27 and 35 represent the danger zone. Because those are the years between 27 and 35 where every woman, black women in particular, should be laser focused at getting the outcomes as it relates to the men they say they want. That's when they should be most laser focused. Why? Why is that important? Because at 35, you are dubbed by every medical professional in the world as entering into what's called geriatric pregnancy, which means you've long bypassed your most prime childbearing years. And that's for those of you that want a family, if you don't have one already currently. I'm really talking to single women that find themselves in rotation, that find themselves missing their chair, that find themselves deaf by the noise or the music. That's who I'm talking to. If that's you, those are the years that you need to be most focused at getting the outcomes that you say you want between 27 and 35. After 35, you're in a real bad position. You could be the one left standing. Is the modern woman, and more importantly, for those of you that are watching the stream, ladies, are you at a place right now in your life where you are or have been playing musical chairs? Are you still in rotation? Going date after date after date after date after date with no results, with no retention. A lot of sex, a lot of whining and dining, but no end result. Is that you? If it is, you know it. Do you want to continue doing it that way? Or do you want the whole scenario to change? I believe you do. I believe you do. I believe you do. But here's the thing. What do you intend to do to change that scenario? Keep listening to other friends, girlfriends, who are telling you that it's okay to stay in rotation, telling you don't worry about it, giving you all the wrong information. What do you intend to do? Because who you listen to and who you associate with on a long-term basis will determine who you exactly are. You will continue to attract exactly who you are. It doesn't matter. You will stay in rotation. You will continue playing musical chairs indefinitely, without end, if you don't decide to turn down the noise, which would be the music, and then begin to focus on the chairs that you desire to sit in, meaning the men that you say that you want. That is the end game. I don't know. It's up to you as an individual to make that determination. I can't do that for you through a stream. I can't do that for you through a talking point. You know, many of you hear a few talking points, and you're like the road runner. Mimi, gone. You know, can't do nothing about that. Talking points are here. It is here to help you if you choose not to run and simply listen. And you desire to get out of rotation. Has the modern woman decided? Has she decided today in 2022? Has she decided to stay in rotation? To continue running around the chairs, listening to the noise, which would be the music, and losing focus on what it is that she exactly wants? Is that her decision today in 2022? Only to find herself standing alone when the music stops. And it will stop. It stops for all of us, but it will stop for you. Do you want to be sitting? Meaning you're resting. Or do you want to be standing, meaning you're restless? It's your decision. It's your decision. Turn down the noise. It's the modern woman. Comfortable, satisfied, content with playing musical chairs. You know, that being said, I am your host. I hope that some of you ladies get to a place. This is what I really hope. I hope some of you ladies that watch my stream get to a place to where you can literally force yourself outside of yourself to quiet even the noise in your own head, much less what's out here, and actually listen to something that could change your thought process. You know? But it's like this glass of water. Many of you ladies have been so polluted by the noise. It's like me taking a drop of red dye and squeezing it into this water. Can the clear water ever become clear again after I contaminate it with red dye? Some of you may say no. I'll tell you what I say. I say yes. But you know how? As easy as it was to contaminate it, it's going to take much more work to purify it. Because now it has to go through a filtration system, which means everything that's been put into your head has to go through a filtration system to get it to look like this again. That's going to take desire. That's going to take. And that way, whenever you come encounter with the men that you say you want, based on getting therapy, based on getting counsel, based on a lot of things, these are called filtration systems. Then the men that you do find, they can drink from a clean glass of water. And not get sick. Because I'll tell you something, ladies. We want you. Black men want you. 51% of all black men in this country are single and childless. 51%. I'm talking 51% of the entire population of black men in the United States are single and childless. That's a lot. That's a whole lot. It's a whole lot. The supply is there. What's the problem? The demand. The supply is there. Again, what's the problem? The demand. Why is the demand low? Because the noise is so loud in the ears of the modern woman. In general, black women in particular. You can't even see the supply that's in front of you. So the demand is low. And what you're looking for, many of you don't even qualify for. But you got 85% of black men in this country. 85%. That make between 41,000 and 42,500. Some of you have gotten so bougie, you think that's not enough money. Okay, well, okay, fine. It's okay. I understand that's hypergamy. I get it. I'm gonna let you in on something else though. Another 85% of black women make 27,000 at its lowest point, 35,000 at its midpoint, and 40,000 at its high point per year. So what's the problem with that 85% of you ladies that don't want the 85% of men that's right in front of your face? Instead, you would rather go around in rotation, spin around the chairs while the music plays and the noise is loud, and find yourself still standing by yourself when the music stops. What's your problem? What's your problem? The demand, the supply is plentiful. It's that the demand is low. The demand is low. The supply is high, but the demand is low. We are better together than we are apart. Well, that being said, again, I am your host, Charles Chandler. This is another episode of Let's Talk About It. I look forward to speaking with you all again tomorrow night at 9 o'clock. Come one, come all, or don't come. I will be here. With that being said, for those that got on the stream tonight, I thank you for your time. I thank you for your sacrifice in getting on the stream tonight. I hope you got something out of it. And I look forward to seeing you all tomorrow night at 9 o'clock. With that being said, we are out.